To the war in Ukraine now, where the country's military says it is preparing a counter-offensive in the southern Kherson region, now occupied by Russian forces. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has vowed to take back the region, but Ukrainian troops are still outgunned by Russian forces, and they say they urgently need more advanced weapons from the West.
The ravages of war have left this village uninhabited, except for a few stray pets and these Ukrainian fighters, as they wait for the order to begin Ukraine's promised pushback towards the strategically and symbolically important city of Kherson, currently under Russian control. This village is just kilometers from Kherson, but on the Ukrainian-controlled side of the front line. The signs of devastation are everywhere in what's left of this settlement. In his nightly address, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy vowed to take back Kherson and said Ukrainian troops were already making headway there. First of all, we can say now that in the Kherson region the occupiers tried to gain a foothold. Their collaborators made various brazen statements, but how did it help them? The armed forces of Ukraine are advancing step by step in the region. These fighters see it as their duty to future generations of Ukrainians to resist Russian occupation.
Херсон ми визволимо, це точно.
We will liberate Kherson, that's for sure.
Москалям взагалі.
We won't give it away to the Russians. That's why we're here, so that our children won't have to fight anymore, so that we can resolve this war issue now and forever.
Уже це питання раз.
Some of these men fear they will be hopelessly outgunned by the enemy.
Ну, я думаю, не хватает нам очень артиллерии.
We really don't have enough artillery here.
Не хватает очень сильно, потому что
If we fire 8 times at them, they fire back 48 times. For now, they have superiority in artillery.
наши 8, так сказать, выстрелов, ихних 48 идет, понимаете.
And both Ukrainian officials and Western analysts fear the imminent battle for Kherson could be the start of the bloodiest phase of the war so far.
And for more, we can bring in DW correspondent Fanny Fachar, who is in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Hi, Fanny, good to see you. Can you tell us more about this Ukrainian counteroffensive?
Basically, the Ukrainian soldiers are waiting for that order by their top commanders to say, shoot, you can start your counteroffensive now. What's been happening so far were basically preparations leading up to this counteroffensive that really seems to be imminent right now. Preparations such as trying to hit very key infrastructure in Kherson region. That is very important for Russian forces to basically supply their units with gear, with weapons, with fuel, with very basic things basically to expand, not just to have a foothold in the Kherson region, but also extend their positions there and bolster their positions there along that front line or along that line of contact between Ukrainian and Russian forces. And as we have heard in that report, really, there's a village just 2 kilometers on Ukrainian-controlled territory, 2 kilometers away from the Russian front line. So whatever we will see play out now with this counter-offensive about to start and Russia's playbook being unclear, actually how they are going to play out their offensive there, as they are also quite busy, to say so, in the Donbas region. We really have to see what is that going to mean for the civilians on the ground. I have to add, though, that at least via those long-range missile systems, the HIMARS, that the US supplied to Ukraine recently, at least Ukraine could get some sort of a momentum to slow down some of these supply chains, as I say, for Russian forces, and to gain a momentum to prepare what is then to be the counteroffensive to start very soon.
Fanny, I just want to talk about Russia's Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, because he is currently on a diplomatic tour of Africa, during which he stated that Russia's goal is regime change in Ukraine. And we're going to have a quick listen to that.
Russian and Ukrainian people would continue to live together. We will certainly help Ukrainian people to get rid of the regime which is absolutely anti-people and anti-historical, if you wish. It's on the very wrong side of history.
OK, so talking about regime change there. Fanny, tell us how his words have been received in Kyiv.
Not very well. President Zelenskyy, in his speech last night, made clear that no one is going to give up land here in Ukraine, that the independence of Ukraine is going to be preserved. And in fact, he was really poised to deliver this speech and to say, you do not know the history, Russia, of Ukraine, because if you had known the history of Ukraine, you would have not even attacked this country. So he really made clear in the speech that the Ukrainians are not going to be intimidated by these remarks by Lavrov, by Russia's foreign minister. However, I have to add to that this is actually not the first time that Lavrov said something along the lines that actually the Ukrainian government is probably not as stable and it's going not to be the Ukrainian government to move forward with here. In fact, last week on Wednesday, he pointed out that this trajectory of violence is going to change, that they're interested in more territories far beyond the Donbas. And in those remarks last week, also Lavrov said that, well, we will have to see if the government is going to remain the government, if President Zelenskyy is going to remain the president. However, still, this lies in stark contrast to earlier speeches where Russia said Ukrainians are going to decide about who is going to be the government. So a lot is going on here right now as Russia is really toughening its position when it comes to Ukraine.
DW's Fanny Fachar in Kyiv. Thank you so much.